Good afternoon and welcome to an historic episode of the Troy Francis podcast, which we are simultaneously recording on audio and also on visual because I have a very special guest with me today, which is the one, the only, Mr. Andrew Tate.
Good to be here, brother. Good to be here.
Good to see you, man. Good to finally meet after, it's been a little while, hasn't it?
It's been a while. I've been on, how long have I, because I've definitely followed you with my first Twitter. And then
yes.
I'm on my fifth now. So it's been a while. Like I keep disappearing, coming back, disappearing, coming back. So,
but now you're back and you're on the ascendance even more than ever. So it's looking good, man. It's looking good. But I'm assuming that everybody watching this and listening to this knows who Andrew is. And if you don't, then where the fuck have you been? Yeah. But basically, 4 times kickboxing world champion. I think I'm correct in saying that. 22 girls have their names tattooed. Your name, sorry, tattooed on their body. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, that's an accolade.
4 living girlfriends.
4 living girlfriends. 4 living girlfriends. Yeah.
Awesome. You drive supercars all around Europe. You've been dubbed the real life James Bond.
Yeah, I definitely have that teenager's dream of like cars, girls, money. You know, I've got it, and I'm definitely a feminist's worst nightmare. They imagine a toxically masculine 6'4" fighting guy with his Lambo full of honeys. I am the ultimate toxically masculine.
Absolutely, and that's why we're holed up in this very anonymous, discreet hotel room somewhere in London, because what we're going to be talking about today could be so shocking that the authorities might burst in at any moment to.
It's happened to me before, man. It's happened to me before. They've knocked my door down before for less.
So if you guys hear a knock on the door and like the cops coming in the black and everything, then you know that's
we told too much truth.
Exactly.
Too much truth.
Exactly. So let's get into it. So I wanted to kick off. So talking about the James Bond sort of lifestyle, I thought we'd kick off with a quotation from Mr. Jay-Z. So he says. This is from his classic hit. I think this was, 96, Big Pimping?
Yeah.
He says, "You know I thug 'em, fuck 'em, love 'em, leave 'em, because I don't fucking need 'em. Take 'em out the hood, keep 'em looking good, but I don't fucking feed 'em. First time they fuss, I'm breezing, talking about what's the reasons. I'm a pimp in every sense of the word, bitch. Better trust and believe 'em."
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty good line.
Do you identify with that?
Yeah. The thing is, firstly, I'll just say that I don't like Jay-Z.
Oh,
but the line is good. And also, when you listen to Pimp by 50 Cent, it shows he certainly knows something about the game as well. Because there's a few lines in there that really resonate with me. I think one of the lines is, these guys are by the bar trying to get a drink up out her.
Yeah.
I'm the guy. I'm the guy trying to get some money out of her. Or something. I can't remember the exact line, which fucked it up with the podcast. But the point is, when everyone else is looking just to get sex, if you make money from women, that is a complete side. That's a bonus. That's a sidetrack. You're focusing purely on the funds. And where I've run these businesses, I've run strip clubs, I've run webcam companies. After you start doing it, your perception does change. You see a beautiful girl in the club, and you're like, okay, yeah, I want her. But also, she's worth. You start looking at them with a price tag attached. You start thinking that can make me money. And you get to a point where you have a choice. People say, okay, or you have a girl, and you're like, okay. Do I want the money or do I want to fuck her? And eventually you get to a point where you're like, well, I just want the money. Like, the sex is okay. I got to keep her happy and, we got to stay together. She has to think I care about her, whatever. But the sex is just completely sidetracked. So that line, what he's trying to say is, I fuck them because I have to, but if they piss me off, they're gone, and this is really all about the cash. And that's the reality of the job in those kind of industries. I mean...
Yeah, absolutely. And you get to a point, I guess, where you've got so much what they would call abundance that it goes beyond... You probably even the fucking almost gets boring in the end.
Well, absolutely. But also the way you reward. If we're going to talk about, I ran a strip club for a short time. Didn't make too much money.
Where was that?
That was in Romania.
Okay.
But in webcamming, I made a lot of money, and at one point I had 75 girls working for me. It was ridiculous, and now I have a lot less. But in the webcam industry, you can't motivate girls with money. If you motivate girls with money. Especially, let's look at pimping, for example. If you motivate girls with money, you're going to have problems. And that's for 2 reasons. One, because you want all the money. You speak to any pimp, they get the money. And secondly, if you motivate a girl with money, all you're doing is you're teaching her to be greedy. And if she learns to be greedy, then she's going to start thinking, why am I giving him anything? Why am I even giving him a cut? So you don't want them to be money motivated. They have to be motivated through attention and love. And what's the easiest way to give a girl attention and love? Well, it's to fuck her. Especially if you're busy. If you're busy, this is true. If you have lots of girls and you're busy... Trust me, I lived this life. If you have lots of girls and you're busy and you have maybe 45 minutes to spend with a girl, how can you give her as much focused attention and love, because that's all they want, in 45 minutes?
Yeah,
You're gonna fuck her. If you sit there and have a coffee, it's not potent enough. It takes too long.
Exactly.
So when you're in this job, you end up just sleeping with them. Oh, I gotta go to work, baby. Okay, love you, kiss, bang, and that's enough to keep them happy, and they go back to work.
Excellent. I can do it quicker than 45 minutes as well. So even better.
I've got a job. I've got a job for you, bro.
Good stuff. Okay, so let's talk about your approach to women and sort of what they call game, I suppose. Although I think we go beyond game with you, really. But I mean, I sort of come from a PUA background, so I used to write for Return of Kings and all of that sort of stuff, and I've met quite a few of the the big name players and all that stuff. But you've sort of spoken out, sort of critically, maybe half jokingly, about the PUA industry.
Yeah.
And you obviously have a much more sort of holistic view of this. So what would your concerns be with pickup as a discipline?
So I ended up in the pickup sphere by accident. I started at Twitter. I was a fighter. I wasn't really... I forgot to click my verification email. Like, literally, I didn't give a shit about Twitter until Trump got elected, and then it was too much fun to piss off the liberals, and I ended up on Twitter. And I kind of ended up in this sphere on accident. And I didn't really know PUA was too much of a thing until I learned about it. And I don't think PUA as a whole is bad. Absolutely not. I do think, though, that, one, there's a lot of people who, especially online, are lying.
Yeah.
And two, I think it's only a very small portion of the whole package.
Yeah.
And I think I get this from my job. So when I'll say pimping because it was webcam, but it was essentially what it was. When I was pimping, you'd pick up a girl, but if you get a high value asset, like a girl, because that's what a beautiful woman is. A beautiful woman's a high value asset. It's like having a Ferrari. You walk down the street with a beautiful woman, it's like driving a Lambo. Everyone's staring at you.
Yeah.
So if you pick up a high value asset, in the pimp game, you need to learn how to control her and retain her. You need to make her do as you say, and you have to keep her. And you have to keep her regardless, in spite of the fact that you cheat, you're busy, you take all her money, you make her do something she doesn't want to do, and she still has to stay with you. So to me, that's what the game was. There was a lot of the pickup artists are like, okay, you get this girl and you fuck her. And I'm like, okay, and then what? Like, is that it? Is that the game over for you? Whereas me, I was much more like, I'd rather have 10 out of 10 beauty queens living in my house who all adore me than go out every night and pick up new random sevens. To me, that was... And I guess that's where my criticism comes from, because a lot of the guys, I think, they teach the first segment, and I'm like, okay, cool. But you're missing the whole other end of the game.
Yes.
You know?
Is there an issue then, do you think? Because I suppose what game always was this idea that the ordinary guy in the street could effectively pretend to be the alpha male.
Yeah.
So do you think the problem is that what a lot of the pickup guys are doing is getting people to fake it in the first, on the approach and maybe on the, take her back and bang her, but then after that they can't keep up the facade. Whereas obviously for you've obviously got the rest of the package as well.
That's exactly it, and that's the problem with games. Is that if you're right, if you if you pretend to be a certain way, and we're not even talking financials, because I picked up a girl when I had no fucking money, but I was still a fighter, and I was still ambitious, and I was still I had self-respect and all these other things that they like. But you're right. If you imitate a certain type of person to get the girl, over the long term, they're going to work out you're not the type of person they thought you were, and you're going to lose them. And that's the thing with game. A lot of it's imitation. And when guys come to me and they say, "Oh, how do I get girls?" I'm like, become a better guy. Actually, genuinely become one. Then you haven't got to pretend to be one. Yeah. And then it's easy. To me, I just think it's easier to become higher value. And I'm not just talking finances. I'm talking the whole spectrum.
Well, that's fair enough. And I think to be fair to the game guys, I think actually a lot of the message has always been, yes, you can learn these techniques and you can fake it to make it, but then at the same time you need to be improving yourself. You need to be, becoming a better guy in all of these different ways. But I still think there's something slightly different with what you're talking about, which I wonder whether is going to be applicable to every guy, because what I think you're talking about is this almost like iceberg slim sort of like, and it's with all, it's almost slightly dark in a way, because like psychology is dark, and female psychology is dark. Now the average guy in the street who's just like, well, I just want to meet a girlfriend, it's like, is that guy ever going to become?
Of course, not everyone's going to become a fucking webcam pimp. Because that's a difficult job to pull off. But my view on it is as follows. I say this to a lot of guys. I say, even if you don't want to be a webcam pimp, even if you don't want to be a playboy, even if you just want to get married and have a nice girlfriend, in the modern world, you need to sleep with 20 girls to find a good one. You know as well as me. There's some chicks that are just broken and not worth the effort. If you're getting one girl a year, you're going to end up sticking with her, and she might be fucking a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So even me at my level, I'll sleep with a girl, and I have my own little ways, and I teach this in one of my courses, but my own little ways of detecting if she's quality or not. If they're giving me red flags, I'll just bail and find another one. So even if you want to be just a normal dude, you still need to have the ability to pick up lots of girls, because you got to find a good one. Which is the first thing. and in the modern world, you got to get through a whole bunch of apples to find an apple that's not rotten. And the second thing is, then when you get her, how do you keep her?
Yeah.
And I guess, I know not everyone's going to get to my point where they're pimping girls and whatever. But I still think there's important levels of the psychology, which game, I don't know, I just read the day game accounts. It's like, went to the mall, went up to a girl, went to the mall, went up to a girl, fuck this girl, another notch. And there's nothing more about, if you get arrested, is she going to come visit you in prison? If you know what I mean, like if you have a financial trouble, will she sell her car to give you the money? If you like where all the other things I can do, I don't see none of these other guys talking about. And to me, I just think that's a huge level of the game that's missing. I like knowing I've got my women who love me for real.
Yeah,
you know?
Because what you're talking about is I suppose I think it was it McQueen who called it deep conversion. It's almost like this really like getting inside devotion, yeah, which nobody else, and you're right, nobody else talks about that as far as I know, because it's the pimp's skill in being able to completely dominate that woman to the point that she's absolutely hopelessly in love with you.
Absolutely. And the thing is, it's seen, like you said, it's seen as very dark, but in pimping, you say you have a gorilla pimp, and gorilla pimping's pimping through fear and intimidation. But that's very short term. You can't intimidate someone into doing something they don't want to do forever.
Yeah.
You know, and especially when they're making money, because they'll make money and just fucking stop answering the phone and disappear one day.
Yeah.
So it's actually not about that. It's about, like you're saying, it's love and devotion, and it's done through positivity, and it's done through them thinking, I don't want $1 million if I don't have $1 million and him. I'd rather have him than the money.
Yeah.
And it is that deep conversion, and that's how they end up getting the tattoos and stuff. This isn't me going up to girls saying, you better get a tattoo. It's 0% like that.
Yeah.
She's like, I love you. I was like, well, how do I know you actually love me? She's like, I love you forever. I said, well, prove it. Do a tattoo.
Yeah.
Oh, but how do we know you're not going to leave me? Why would I leave you if you misbehave? Okay, they want to. There's no forcing involved. And you're right. That real deep conversion is something that I think is necessary for every man, even if you want one woman.
Yes.
If you're gonna get a wife, I see on Twitter, man. I see these dudes and their wife's leaving them, and they're taking all the money and all that shit. I've had court cases where 6 of my girlfriends have turned up, and not one of them's turned on me. Like, any one of them could have put me in jail.
Yeah.
And they found out about the other girls on the day of court case and still didn't turn on me.
Really?
So, like, I'm not saying that I'm some fucking Superman. I'm just saying that I've always focused on not just getting the girls. Once I get them, that's the beginning of the project for me.
Yeah.
I want everything else afterwards to have that true devotion. Because that's what I'm more interested in than fucking lots of girls. I've had a lot. But that's my hobby is knowing I've got the ride or dies. That's what I'm interested in. And that was, one, because of the business, and it made me money, and 2, because, I don't know, it's just the way I'm wired now. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, aside from yourself as an example, when I see other guys who do this kind of thing, when I've met girls who've been obsessed with a particular guy, it tends to be because they've got inside her psychology in a way, and it usually it's to do with the fact that the guy is completely prepared to walk away, and sometimes it's to do with the fact the guy will say, well, actually, I'm fucking other girls and they're hotter than you.
Yeah.
And then the girl is obsessed with him.
There has to be a fear of loss.
Yeah.
There has to be a fear of loss of anything. This is not just game, but in general, everything has a value because of fear of loss. So my very basic tenet when I say about relationships is that women don't want to fuck a guy they don't respect. Women don't have to like you. Women can dislike you, but if they respect you, they'll still fuck you.
Yeah,
so it's all about respect. So if you don't respect yourself, how is she going to respect you?
Yeah.
So if she's giving you shit and you're taking it and you don't respect yourself, well, then it's the whole thing. It's over. Trump said it in the Art of the Deal. You have to be prepared to walk away.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys say they're prepared to walk away until it comes time to walk away, and then they're a bit like, oh, well, she's hot or da da da. And you know, and you don't want to. And hey, man, fucking. Forget the whole hard man shit. I've walked away from chicks who were fucking 10 out of 10, and I didn't want to leave, and I didn't want to walk away, but I just did it. I had to do it because I knew. My view is very much like this. I look at the world like a chessboard because I'm a chess player. Yes. And if you don't play chess, maybe this is a bad analogy, but if you've got a position and it's a losing position, and sooner or later you're going to get your opponent's going to grind you down and you're going to lose. But the only hope you have is to sacrifice a piece, for example. And to play a crazy move. It might work, it might not work. But if you don't play the move, you're going to lose. It's just going to take longer. Yeah. So for me, it's like, well, you play the move, and if it doesn't work out, fine. Because you were always going to lose. But most people are too afraid to to pull the plug and force the action, and they'd rather just let it slowly happen. Their girlfriend will start to disrespect them. They'll take the shit. Their girl stops listening. The girl starts getting friends, going out with her friends all the time. That she's not listening. They're telling her not to. She won't do as they say, and they're just sitting there going, "It'll be all right. It'll be okay. It'll be okay." Eventually, they catch her cheating. Whereas me, I would have said, "You're not going out with them people. Don't tell me what to do. If you go out with that, I'm leaving."
Yeah.
I'd force the move because it might pull off. Sometimes the girl will sit there and go, and when she's forced to choose, she might choose you. Then you win.
Yeah.
Whereas most people give up their chance to win just to elongate the certainty of defeat, and I don't understand why.
Do you
know where I'm coming from?
Yeah, definitely, because I think that's an issue in game sort of per se, really, which is that guys want to stay... Guys sort of would rather stay in uncertainty, or they'd rather stay in a comfortable situation rather than making themselves uncomfortable. So that could even go from the approach. You know, well, there's a really hot girl over there, but I'm not going to approach her because she might tell me to fuck off. And then you get the same thing. Then you're with the girl and you're like, well, I kind of want to go away with my mates for 3 months to Thailand, but I'm not going to do it because she might dump me. And it's always this desire to stay comfortable. And I get the impression with you, you're very much fuck comfort.
I'm just very... I'm very, my view of women is a protective one, and it's a patriarchal one, and it's not a misogynist or negative one. It's a, I'm in charge, this is my life, I'm the train on the tracks. You cannot divert me, you cannot tell me what to do, it's not like a car that can take different things. A train's on a track, and it goes in one fucking direction. You either get on the train or you don't. You know, that's how it is. It's very much like, I'm doing this, you're doing this, I don't want to, okay, bye. That's just how I am. And that's one, because I had the ability to find replacements, and two, because of the industry I was in. I wanted girls to do something they'd never done before, which is get naked on camera to pay me money.
Yeah.
And if they were saying no, then I had to be like, okay, bye, because it was a business.
Yeah.
You know, so
out of interest though, were you always like that, or was this something that you acquired over the years? Was there a blue pill Andrew sort of back in the day, like, oh my god?
Hey man, everyone's fallen in love with girls. Everyone's had their heart broken. Yes. Anyone who says they're not is fucking lying. I was definitely never blue pill. I was always realistic about the world. I was always understanding. One of my girlfriends, when I was about 23, she started dancing in this club, and I said, I don't want you dancing in the club. And she goes, well, I need money. Have you got any? And I didn't. So I was, it was harder for me then, and I was like, oh well, I don't want you dancing there. Anyway. And this is where I learned my move. I should have done the takeaway. Anyway, so I said to her then, I said, look, you either dance in the club or you're going to stay, or you dance in the club and we split up, or you stay with me and you don't.
Yeah.
And even my brother said at the time, he goes, why are you being so extreme? I was like, there is no way on a long term, this girl who was a fucking 10, she was the head of a ballet school in Cambridge. I'll find a picture of her and show you. She was a 10. There's no way this 10 is going to go to the top London club 3-4 times a week, every night, drinking champagne with millionaires, while I sit here broke, and her love for me is going to stop her fucking one of them guys. On a long enough time scale, I'm going to lose. So now I either have to force my hand or thing. Anyway, she chose to go dance. So I did it. So whatever. I didn't back down. I stuck to my word. Only 2 weeks later, I saw her on David Hayes' Instagram. Now the point is this. If I was with her, would she have still gone in David Hayes' Ferrari? Of course she fucking would have. So at least I got to walk away with my honor.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what, fuck you, bye.
Yeah.
So I'm still happy I made the right choice, as opposed to going, oh, maybe you'll be okay, baby. Okay, you just go to London and dance with all the millionaires, and I'll just sit here and work my job.
Yeah.
So one of it is, even when I was blue pill, because I was upset about losing her, but I never fucking told her. I just, I kept my straight face. But I always kind of knew the rules to the game. And another thing is, I was lucky that I always had fighting, so I always had this higher purpose, so I could always distract myself. So, I wouldn't let a girl get in my head, because I always had a fight to worry about, so it's all right, whatever.
I think that's got to be more important, hasn't it? The higher purpose over and above women.
Absolutely, because if you're going to let a woman fuck with your head and you're not going to train properly, then you can get your ass kicked.
Yes.
And that just makes everything worse. So fighting was the one thing that always kept me grounded, where no matter what happened with a girl, I had to go to the gym, I had to train, I had to prepare, I had to be mentally ready. So it always kept me, even in my early days, I was always red pill, because I was always like, okay, if you're going to be stupid, I've got to fight. So bye. Yeah. So I was always like that.
Yeah. So sort of coming off of that, can we turn our attention to what you think about relationships and monogamy in general? Because on Twitter, I see a lot of these sort of like tradcon, you know, kind of guys who are sort of like, yeah, man, it's all about getting married and growing a beard and having the White House with the picket fence. It's gone back to this sort of like very traditional idea that is the alpha goal.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I understand on the one hand you've got you come from quite a traditional sort of sense in this, in the fact, you know, family's very important to you and everything else, and that's fine. But on the other hand, I do think these guys are being a bit naive, because it almost seems as if they've learned nothing from all of this red pill stuff.
Yeah.
They've learned almost nothing, and they say, oh yeah, well, if you're just alpha enough within the marriage, within the relationship, then you know she will love you forever, and it'll all be fine.
Yeah.
And I wonder what your thoughts on that are, because the way you described it, even you as Andrew Tate, I mean, okay, it was a few years ago, but even you, with a girl who was going out dancing, you know, you ended up having to cut that off, because female nature is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And my view on the whole marriage and stuff, I'm very much have your cake and eat it. Most people don't seem to think you can do both, and I do believe you can do both. And my view of this is as follows. I want kids. I'm going to have kids in this year or next. I want kids. I want a woman who loves me, but I'm absolutely never going to be faithful to one woman.
Yeah.
That is the reality, and I am very open about that fact. To even the girls I'm gonna have, I have 5 girls I could call right now and say we're having kids, and they start crying tears of joy right now. And whoever I choose to have kids with, she knows I'm never gonna be faithful. Yes. Because you know, so I see. Yeah, you can have a family. Yeah, you can have a woman who loves you. Yeah, you can take care of your kids. But I don't really think you have to cut off being a full-grown man. You're a man. There is no man who wants to sit and change. It's unpopular opinion. There's no man who wants to sit and change diapers with his wife who's now fat and ugly, and that wants to be his life. He doesn't want to do that. Men are not biologically designed to do that. Men are biologically designed to, if you look at the human history and evolution, every man had multiple women, and they got them pregnant, and they found another younger model, and that was how men have always been.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm going to have kids, I'm going to have family, but I'm always going to have some fresh new 19-year-old in my phone. And I'm just never going to lie about that fact. And I think if you find women who truly love you, like we were talking earlier with the deep conversion, I don't hide the fact I fuck other girls. My girls know. They know. They may not like it. They may get jealous. They may cry, but they don't leave.
Yes.
And so it's
it probably
like
increases the attraction.
Of course it does, man. Of course.
Yeah.
You can be fucking your main girl telling her you cheated on her last night. I guarantee she'll love it. Afterwards she'll be mad, but during the time she'll like it. So it's it's you can reach that level where I really think, kids are important. Yeah, having women who truly love you is important. But I don't think you need to completely go that trad con at all. I know that I'm never gonna change. You know?
Yeah, because I just think I think guys are either kidding themselves or they're being sometimes dishonest in saying, because I don't believe men are monogamous, fundamentally. I think fundamentally every guy, regardless of if he's married or got a girlfriend or whatever, if a hot 21-year-old, 19-year-old walked past him and he had the opportunity to have sex with her and no one would find out, he would fucking do it.
Agree.
So I think that's the bottom line of it. So when guys say, "Oh, I've done my player years and now I'm gonna find the one and settle down," it's sort of like, well, you're saying that, but really,
exactly. That's not what you want.
Yes,
and you're giving her monogamy. You're giving her exclusivity in return for love, loyalty, and children. And I believe you can get love, loyalty, and children without giving up your monogamy. Yes. I believe you can do it all. And I've seen other people who do it. I've seen it done. I live in Eastern Europe. In Eastern Europe, this is common. In Eastern Europe, if you see like a Romanian girl and she's with like a high level guy, like a mafia boss or some shit, she'll say, "Oh, I know what he does. I don't want to know." Whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's normal because it's still more primal. It's always, if you think of history, every king, every sheikh, every sultan, they all had wives and mistresses. In the world today, there's still people who have 10 wives and mistresses. Yeah. This is the normal human pattern. An alpha with more than one woman. This is the normal human pattern. And the fact that monogamy has been introduced by society, it's societal, but it's certainly not natural. So...
Well, I guess the argument is that monogamy was, well, as I've said on Twitter a few times, I mean, monogamy was not introduced by guys with options, because why would you? So I suppose the argument is monogamy was, very roughly speaking, introduced by the 80%, if you want to split it to that 80-20 thing, to make sure that the 80% had a woman and they were satisfied and everything else. So what's interesting and what I wanted to come on to now is, because this is something I'm trying to get my head around as well. Playing devil's advocate, guys will be looking at you and saying, "Yeah, that's great for Tate because G lifestyle, he's got the Lambos, kickboxing, all the money and all the rest of it." Can guys who are in the 80% get into the top 20%, or what's your view on that?
That's a really good question, and to be honest with you, I think the answer is yes. Because men create their value.
Yes.
So there's two things. One, men create their value, and two, because I get accused of this all the time. Tate, you have girls because you have money.
Yeah.
I try and explain to them, I have money because I had girls.
Yeah.
That's how I first made big money. Okay, I made money with fighting, but I didn't make Lambo, Bentley, Aston, mansion money like I made with girls. So I always had the ability to get girls, even when I had no money. And I did that through, like I said, self-respect, being in fantastic shape, having ambition, being clearly career-driven. Like, these are things that basically anyone can do.
Yeah.
You know, so I think men create their value, and if you go out your way to create enough value, you're always going to do better than a lot of the others.
Yeah, because I've got a theory, and this isn't faking it till you make it. This is just getting the mindsets right. Because I've got a theory, and I mean, tell me what you think of this. That you don't have to be Tate. If you lay down your boundaries strongly enough, and you're like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna. Yes, I want to be with you. Yes, I want to have kids, but I'm going to be fucking other girls. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
If you are that guy, then it's the mindset that, you know, some girls are going to accept that frame.
Yeah.
Some girls may not, but some girls will, because it's the frame is more important than the money and the.
Completely right. You're right. There's some girls who may not accept it. I've had girls who don't accept it. But even at my level, I've had beauty queens go, oh, I won't have it, da-da-da. And I have girls who do, who are just as beautiful. So some girls will, some girls won't. The only kind of struggle I find when people ask me how I pull it off is, I try and explain that a woman shows her love for you via sexual exclusivity. That's how she shows she loves you.
Yes.
In her mind, she believes that you show your love via sexual exclusivity. What you have to do is reprogram her to understand that sexual exclusivity has nothing to do with me loving you.
Yeah.
I love you anyway. I love you, and you have to find other ways to show her. Now, that doesn't mean that doesn't have to be financial. It can be other things. So when I very first started, I used to say to my girl, yeah, I'm gonna fuck other girls, but I won't, it sounds stupid. I won't sleep with them. I won't sleep around their house.
Yeah,
so her in her head was, well, he only sleeps with me. They need something. Now that's long gone. I'm lazy. but they need something to hold on to, so they think, I still have something no one else has. Because everyone thinks that's sex. But if you can change that out for something else, I'm telling you now, man, most girls know. And I say this, and people go, no, they don't. I say, yeah, most girls know. If you go up to a girl and say, go demand to look through your man's phone right now or leave him. And they'll go, oh, well, it's his work phone. They'll make excuses for the dude, because they know if they look, they're going to see shit they don't really want to see.
Yeah.
You know, every chick deep down kind of knows. When the guy goes on a stag do to Vegas, every girl kind of knows he's in a club. So it's not really too big a jump from them kind of knowing to them actually knowing. And just being like, but I don't love them hoes, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that big a jump.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, I mean, that's a very traditional arrangement, isn't it? That's been going for centuries in Europe. And I suppose the only other, the way that people get around it is to sort of lie about it, basically. So they get married, and they do that, but they just don't admit it. Yeah. And then they set themselves up, I suppose, because then they get found out.
Well, and this is the thing, and this is where webcam helped me a lot as well, because I used to say to my girls, when we were running the webcam business, I'd say, who's cheating more? Like, I'll go to the club, I'll find a hot chick, I'll fuck her, and then I won't talk to her again. Or I'll fuck her, and maybe I'll fuck her again, but I fuck her. Or the guy who comes on and talks to you on webcam when his wife's asleep, sending you money he was going to take her on holiday with. Instead, he's sending it to you, telling you he's head over heels in love with you. Who's cheating more? The guy who's head over heels in love with you, or me who has no emotion for any of these chicks?
Yeah.
Who's actually cheating?
Yeah.
So to my girls, all they care about is, do you love the other girls?
Yeah.
Like, do you love her? No. Yeah. Okay. And I'm at a point now where my girls will say, who you with tonight? I'm like, oh, I'm out. Okay. And I don't even have to hide. I'm out tonight. See you tomorrow. That's all I have to say. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. It's it is what it is.
Yeah. But out of interest, obviously, the other side of it is obviously female nature itself. And you've obviously seen a lot of that. I mean, do you think guys watching this would be shocked in terms of the things that women are capable of doing? And also, what about the good girl, bad girl dichotomy? Do you believe that there are actually good girls versus bad girls, or do you think they're all...
Okay, so that's a really interesting question. So, firstly, girls are ruthless.
Yes.
And that doesn't make them bad people. I'm certainly not a woman hater. I'm definitely not one of them guys who are like, women are this, women are bad. Women are not bad. Women have evolved to be a certain way. If I'm going to walk through the world and I'm going to say to you, men are a certain way, so this is why I act that way, then I can't hate on women for doing the same thing.
Yeah,
we're saying men are not monogamous. Then I can't hate on women for having a certain mindset.
Yeah.
Women are ruthless when you no longer have a value to them.
Yes.
Women are ruthless if they find someone better. That song, These Hoes Ain't Loyal, is completely correct. When a rich nigger wants you, and your nigger can't do nothing for you, these hoes ain't loyal. It's true. Like, there are levels to it. And even I understood that with the girl I was head over heels in love with. When she was starting to go to this club, I was like, I just have to play my move now. Because I ain't gonna have a move next week when she's already been partying with champagne and she already has millionaires texting her. Then I don't stand a chance. My only chance now is to stop her going. It didn't even work. But I still know I made the right choice. I had no other choice. So I've always understood female nature at that level. So yeah, they are ruthless. And all of them are. The good ones and the bad ones.
Yes.
You can find a good girl, virgin, Christian, whatever. If you stop being of value and she has a better option, she'll fucking go.
Yes.
So that's that. However, there's two things to this. One, what you have to do in life is, if you can't change the rules to the game, what you have to do is understand the rules so well that they benefit you. People talk about hypergaming and how bad it is and girls want the best choice and all this shit. That benefits me to the ground. Why are these women sharing me? Because I have an advantage over other guys. So, to me, it benefits me. And I put myself in this position. I wasn't born a kickboxing champion. I was born broke and nobody. So, I put myself here. So, to me, it benefits me. So, if you can position yourself, and I'm not just talking about being a fighter or being a fucking kickboxer or even being rich. You can be an art guy. You can be a library guy. Girls are into everything. If you're in the right niche and you're doing well, you're gonna benefit from hypergaming. So that's the first thing. Second thing, as for the good and bad girl thing, I don't believe, and this is another thing that I argue with the game guys about, I don't believe in BPD. I don't believe in girls that have a borderline personality disorder. I believe you have, and the reason for this is, I'll quickly explain why that is. If you're gonna date top tier women, 9s and 10s, I'm talking about girls with like 1 million followers on Instagram and stuff. How the fuck are you gonna be 16 with 500,000 followers on Instagram and every man in the world, multi-millionaires, desperate to spend time with you, nobody ever telling you you're stupid or wrong, and everyone doting over you? How are you gonna live that life and not have a fucking personality disorder? So they've all got BPD. So if all the top girls have it, is it even a thing? It's just women. There's just women. Hot women are a certain way, which is a pain in the ass. Now, as for the good and bad girls, I think all girls can be controlled. I think all girls can be fixed. But some girls are certainly a bunch more work than others. So I had a guy I used to coach, and he used to say, how do I tell a good girl from bad girl? Da-da. I say, you have blueprints. You may fuck a girl, da-da. You got a blueprint. Some of them are a real pain in the ass. Some of them are far more susceptible. But either way, you have to be the right kind of man to train her to be the woman you want her to be.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You know, you're never gonna find a woman who just instantly, the second you meet her, respects you, loves you, does everything you say, obeys you. If you find that kind of girl, and this is my genuine experience, if you find girls that are too easy, in most cases they're fucking hoes. Because if they give away respect to men that quick, then they'll give it to a lot of guys. And they're usually hoes. If you meet a girl and she's head over heels in love with you in an hour, she's probably a slut. So if you want to make a girl who genuinely loves you and build them up, it's going to take time. You have to create the woman you want. My women are the way. None of my women, if before they were with me, if you said, are you going to be with a guy who cheats on you? Every one of them would have been like, no, never. And here they are. So I made them that way. So you have to create your woman. You have to make her the way you want her to be. Some women are far more work than others. That's how I view it. That's a bad girl. A bad girl is a whole bunch of fucking effort. And a good girl is far more susceptible to listening. And So I do believe there's good and bad. I do believe it. And a lot of that's just down to their previous experiences, I think, as women.
Well, I suppose guys are most concerned about cheating, aren't they? So I suppose they're saying you can meet a girl who's going to be less inclined to cheat versus a girl who's going to be more inclined to cheat. But I guess I'm guessing your take on that would be it comes down to the guy. Yeah,
partially it comes down to the guy and partially it comes down to the girl. If the girl's taking a whole ton of dick, well then there's no stigma attached to taking a new one. So as soon as you have any kind of trouble, she's like, well, why am I going to sit here and fight and work this out for this dick when there's new dick out there? You know? So sexual partners absolutely is part of it. So that is a big part of it. But also as a guy, I mean, I was always very firm with my relationships. And like I've given that example already. I think the world we live in now is not designed, but the natural, the relationship which is considered normal nowadays, I think it facilitates women cheating. My women don't have male friends. My women don't go to the club without me. My women don't do, like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I've put rules down on. Now, that doesn't make me a psycho, because if the girl doesn't like it, we can split up. But that's just me as a man. You're not going to be having male friends. Why does this guy, if you want to talk to a man, you can talk to me. Or you can talk to my brother. I don't know, or your dad. There's no other dude I mean, maybe if it's work and you reply, okay, I'll give you file tomorrow. It's not like some static bullshit. But I don't see why men and women need to be friends. All these dudes are trying to fuck her. You know that. I know that. So, and people are sitting here, they've got relationships where their girl has lots of male friends, their girl goes to the club with other girls, their girl's out without them all the time, and then they go, oh, well, she cheats. And I go, well, okay, maybe it's not so much her being a bad girl, you're just putting her in a position where it's so fucking easy.
Yeah.
And of course you're going to argue in your relationship, everyone does. So, like, of course something's going to happen. She's going to pick up a guy's number or something. I just make sure none of that even fucking starts.
Yeah.
You're with me, we're together, you don't do that.
Yeah. And obviously you've got her friends egging her on and everything as well, so...
Of course, all her friends her friends are never on your side.
Yeah.
So her friends want her to do this shit. And that's why I am the way I am, and I've always been that way with relationships. It's just like, no, you're not going to go down that path, I'm not going to allow it to happen.
Yeah, definitely. On that note, let's move on to just to talk about Romania. I was going to talk about that a little bit further on, but just out of interest, how did you? Because obviously you were based in the UK, weren't you?
Yeah.
Originally, and then you were doing kickboxing UK based.
Yeah.
And then you're in Romania and you're doing webcams. So what's the sort of missing links in that story?
So I was in the UK. It's a really long story. I won't tell it all on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's 20 minutes long, but I ended up starting this webcam company in the UK. I got the idea. I had some girls. I started the webcam company. I was making some money. Everything was okay. I went to Romania to fight. I went there and I had a fight, and I thought, this is nothing like I expected it to be. Because Romania has a bad reputation. So I expected it to be a shithole. And it's not. I mean, yeah, there's mafia. But you know what? If you don't look for trouble, you don't find trouble. And that's true anywhere in the world. You're going to walk around with a bad attitude. You're going to find trouble here, there, anywhere.
Yeah.
If you show people respect, no one's going to give you trouble. I've never had any problems there. So yeah, there's some mafia guys, but they have bigger concerns than fucking with some tourist. Like, what do they care?
Yeah.
So unless you're actually looking for trouble, you're not going to find it. So it was really beautiful. The weather was nice. The girls were fucking insane. I'm not just saying that like a lot of guys say that and they're lying. I'm talking about genuinely. And I've never seen a girl without a pedicure or a manicure. I've never seen a girl whose hair isn't done. You go to the mall during the middle of the day on a Tuesday, every girl's in heels. They wear dresses. Like, it's completely different to the West. You can walk down the street in London now and count how many girls have nice pedicured fake nails. 10% maybe.
Yeah.
As opposed to 100%. I'm talking about all. You know? So it's like they put more work in. And it's not even just a genetic thing. Genetically, they're beautiful, yeah. But if a girl's got nice long hair, perfect fingernails, wearing a dress, goes to the gym every day, and sunglasses on, like, how can you even really be ugly? Like, you know, like, you're hot. You're just all hot.
Yeah.
So this happened, and then I had a girl in England lie and say I hit her when I didn't. And I ended up getting arrested by the police, and my house raided, and all this bullshit was happening. And I just thought, you know what? I don't want to live under a system where any girl can lie. And it was proved to be a lie. I don't want to live under a system where any girl I've ever talked to in my life can lie and fuck up my life. So I'm just going to leave.
Yeah.
And literally that was it. I said to Tristan, let's go. We packed up the car, and in the morning and by the evening we were drawing our way to Romania.
Yeah.
That was it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, would you advise guys? I mean, there's quite a few people on the internet who are sort of like moved to Eastern Europe, and particularly from the States, because obviously, in Britain we're a lot nearer, so it's slightly less of a massive jump. But I mean, I don't know really. I mean, for various reasons. Obviously, you've got more attractive girls. You've got a less, how do you put it, invasive culture than you've got here. I mean, do you think this is a good thing for guys to consider doing?
I actually don't recommend it to a lot of guys, and I'll tell you why. It's the game of women, but the stakes are turned up. So if you're a high value guy, like if you're a high value guy in England, you get a lot of girls. If you're a high value guy in Romania, you get a lot of girls.
Yes.
But if you're a low value guy in England, you don't get many. If you're a low value guy in Romania, you get zero.
Right.
It's the game's more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the women are more prepared to share a high level man, which means that high level men have more women. So the low level guys struggle more. Do you know what I mean? So if I look at Roosh, I'm not a fan of Roosh, but Roosh he's in Ukraine or Belarus, wherever he is, in his little tiny apartment, selling his ebook, making $500 a month. And he's sitting there complaining he can't find a wife. It's because I know Eastern European women. I know that they're looking at him going, okay, even if he fucks them, even if he games them, fucks them. After that, they're like, okay, so where's the security? Where's the children?
Yeah.
Where's the family? Where's the marriage? You ain't got none of this shit I want.
Yeah.
That's why he's struggling. So
the
women out there actually, I recommend to a lot of guys, I wouldn't say go in there and living cheap and da-da. It's a bad idea. You're better off in the West.
Yeah, it's not the sort of pussy paradise. That
0%. It's not a pussy paradise at all. It's a pussy paradise if you're high level. But what you're going to have here in the West is you can have nothing going for you. and a girl will fuck you because you're funny. Oh, I like him, he's funny. We smoke weed, we watch Netflix, he fucks me. Even if you're a nobody, you'll have some pussy. There is no pretty Romanian girl on the planet who's stupid enough to do that.
Yeah.
They know their value. All I have is my looks. That's all I have. I ain't gonna have a career, I'm not gonna have a high paying job. I have my beauty.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna fuck a guy, either, one, I want money up front, this is why so many of them are hookers, or two, I want to see that there's a possibility for a future and a family.
Yeah.
That they ain't fucking for any other reason. So if you've got those things, if you're a guy and you're a bit older and you've got some game and you have a little bit of money and a nice apartment, you haven't got to be a millionaire, just basic things, and they can see a future with you, you'll get girls. If you're some 19-year-old who turns up with fuck all, and you're trying to live cheap and just run around gaming, you're gonna be disappointed. You're better off in the West, where girls are stupid. That's the truth.
Yeah, because I was in Russia recently, and I mean, it's funny because my friend Tom was saying, it's actually, guys think it's easy to go east and you'll get laid, but actually, it's easy to get laid in London. Because of the culture.
Absolutely, that's completely correct. The girls there are smarter, they're more savvy.
Yeah.
They want something more from you than just sex, and on top of that, the culture is less degenerated. Western culture is completely degenerated.
Yeah.
Over there, they're still 99% are still religious. I've been on dates with 25-year-old girls who say I have to be home at 10 o'clock. My dad said so. At 25, like you don't have any of that here. You're able to get drunk and they fuck do coke and they act like. So here it's super easy. I've said this a million times. The easiest place in the world to get laid is north of England. Go to people say it to me all the time. Where's the best place to go? Is it Romania? Is it Ukraine? I'm like, no, go to fucking Liverpool. That's the number one spot. If you want just random hoes. But if you want to find a woman of quality and find possibly a wife, it is better over there. But the game is amplified. The hyper game is amplified.
Yes.
So if you can use it to your advantage, it's better. But if you can't, it's certainly not some. If anyone who thinks, oh, I go Ukraine, I'm gonna get unlimited hot girls just because I have $10. That's bullshit. It's not like that. And sorry to Karen, it's not even that poor anymore. That's another thing that people think is a lot poorer than it is. They think, oh, I'll go there and I'll have a little bit of money and I'll be the richest guy in the club. I live half a mile from a Lambo garage. Like there's Lambos, there's Bentleys, there's big clubs, there's people with money. Like you're not gonna go there and have like 20 quid in your pocket. It's not Thailand. It's not like that. So.
Is there a sort of like final frontier Wild West somewhere in the Balkans though? I mean, if you go to like fucking I don't know, like
there is
like Georgia or
Georgia, I've heard good things about, but the things with Georgia is they're semi-Turkish, like it's on the border of Turkey. They've kind of got this strong religious thing. The best place to go for girls, I'll tell you, but I'm also going to tell you everyone to not fucking go, is Moldova.
Right, yes. I heard this the other day, actually.
Yeah, so Moldova's the best place to go, but the problem is it's got a few problems. Moldova's the best place to go because they haven't got EU travel. So I used to go to a town called Košice in Slovakia. That's where I met one of my girls I've been with for 6 years. And I put her on Twitter a lot. She's blonde. She's hot. So I met her in Košice, Slovakia. And at the time, when I was younger, I worked out a geographical formula to finding hot chicks. Because hot chicks love big cities. Because that's where the fun is. If you're going to have a beauty queen in a village, she's going to be pregnant by the time she's 18. She ain't sitting around the village at 25, beautiful, and waiting for a dude. It ain't real. So you have to go to the cities to find the girls. So me and my brother looked on a map, and we're like, where is there, like, capital cities are always a bad idea because there's too many tourists, and tourists destroy it. Like, Prague now is finished because there's too many fucking stag doos. Every single Czech girl, if you go and try and talk to her in English, she's like, stag do, bye. She's already been fucked. She may have either already slept with a stag do guy and made that mistake once, or she's seen too many of them throw up on themselves, or whatever. They're just not interested in your bullshit. So you have to go where there's no tourists. So we started looking for the second biggest cities in countries. And we found this town in Slovakia called Košice, it's the second biggest city, and it's 5 hours drive from any major city. So it's 5 hours drive from Budapest, 5 hours drive from Krakow, 5 hours drive from Bratislava. So it's in the middle of kind of nowhere, and at the time they didn't have an airport. So when we used to go there, it was genuinely crazy. And there was no English people. You had to fly to Budapest and get a 4.5 hour taxi. So like when we were going there, everyone was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" You know. And it was like
awesome.
It was awesome for a good, but this is about 7-8 years ago. Maybe longer, maybe 10 years ago. And it was really fun. And I went again last summer, and it's completely different. They opened an international medical school. They opened EU. They got EU money. They joined the EU. They got the euro they never used to have. They opened an airport. And now all the pussy's gone. And they're like, they can get a 20 quid flight to Zurich. You're a 10 out of 10 from Slovakia. You go to Zurich. You go to Berlin. You go to London. No one's sitting around Košice anymore. So the whole thing's done. So the geography of women is super interesting because, especially with the European Union, it's given so much freedom for travel. I remember I used to go to Lithuania before the EU, full of girls. Last time I went to Lithuania, they're not there. And I spoke to my friend and said, "Where's the hottest Lithuanian girls?" He goes, "London." They all leave. They all leave because they can. Why are you going to sit and work for €200 a month when you can come and work somewhere else for more, especially if you're hot?
Yeah.
So, but Moldova doesn't have that. Moldova, they cannot travel. They're not part of the EU.
Right. Yeah.
So, and they haven't got free travel, and they have to get visas to go everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's extremely corrupt and dangerous country, so it's very difficult to get visas. So a lot of the girls are stuck there, and they are actually poor. However, I'm telling everyone now who's listening to this, thinking they want to go, don't go, because I've been 4 times and I've been attacked 3. So that's a 75% attack rate. Like that's like fucking Iraq level. Because the men are extremely hostile to foreigners. And the reason for that is because they know there is 0 reason for you or I to be walking around Moldova if it's not to fuck their girls. Now, if you're working for €100 a month and you see all these Americans coming over trying to pick up all the women, you're struggling to get a girl because these Americans come over and they're rich as fuck. Are you going to put up with that shit? It's not like, the ties are cupped. They let you fuck their girls. But in Moldova, when we were there, me and my brother were walking with girls, and some Moldovan guy started screaming in Russian to the girls, "Why are you with we understood. Why are you the Americans? You're fucking whores. Why are you the Americans?" The girl said, "Leave us alone." The guy went into the pub, came out with 25 dudes that rushed us. We're professional fighters. So, and we still got fucked up. So I'm talking about if you want to go Moldova and literally risk your life for pussy, it's not worth it. It's it's genuinely dangerous because the men there are not interested in letting you run around fuck their chicks.
Yeah.
But that is the last frontier. That is the place to go, but don't go. I've warned you all. I'm saying it because some idiot's gonna go there and get fucking stabbed.
Don't go.
And he's gonna come after me. But literally, the taxi drivers are against you. The police are against you. Everyone's against you. It's really not worth going. Even when the police turned up, they were like, "Well, why are you here then?" That was like we said we got jumped. Well, why are you here then? Don't come. It's like it's not worth it. But that's the last place to go.
The other on the other side of it, so like Bucharest, Romania, and all the Serbia, whatever. I mean, like as time goes on, the next 10, 15 years, do you think though that it's all going to become more and more westernized?
Yeah, it's going to become more and more westernized. Absolutely. I know. Just like Slovakia had its heyday, I do believe that slowly. I think, in fact, no. I think Bucharest is a really unique place. And I think it's unique for as follows, because I've never met another country full of hot girls where they're patriotic enough they don't want to leave. All the Lithuanians want to leave. All the Estonians want to leave. All the Ukrainians want to leave, whatever. In Romania, in Bucharest, you meet so many Romanians from all the villages in the capital, but they don't want to leave Romania.
Yeah.
They want to stay in Romania. There's something about Romania that has just enough money that they believe there's a future for them. It's not too poor. It's not too rich. It's just the right amount that the girls don't very often leave. If they leave, the only ones who leave are the hookers. They go Dubai, they go Germany. But the girls who want to find a normal life, they actually stay in Romania. So it is quite unique for that, and it's definitely worth a visit. But like I said, it's hypergamey. It's hypergamey to the extreme. And on top of that all, the thing is with these Eastern European countries, the reason I don't recommend guys to like go on holiday and stuff, you got to kind of land there. You got to kind of like if you were to come and live for a year, you'd have loads of fun. But for the first 6 months, you'd be like, "What the fuck am I doing here?" Because until people know you, until you've been seen around, until you've seen like there's some girls in the club who look like they're on their own, but you don't tap on their shoulder because it's that dudes. Like there's those kind of things going on. It's a kind of bit sketchy. And so when I see some guys on Twitter like, "I went to Ukraine, I fucked this girl," I know they're fucking 4s. I know, because I know there's no 9 in a club who's not owned by somebody. And I know that she's not impressed by you, Mr. Average, on Twitter. So I know the reality of the game. Yeah. That's the reality of the game. So it's one of those places you have to really make an impact. But if you make an impact, it gets a shit ton easier because girls don't care if you have another girl, girls don't care about this, that, but you have to make an impact,
Yeah, fair enough. So moving on slightly to a slightly different topic in terms of sort of business, entrepreneurship, all of that stuff. You've obviously done the webcam business, you've done the strip clubs, etc., etc. Really, really basic question. I think we already know the answer to this, but would you ever envisage a situation where you'd work for somebody else? Could you ever see how employment, working for another guy, would be something you'd ever do? Or are you just like, no, you go your own way, that's the
you know what, I did it for a long time.
Did you work in TV advertising?
I worked in TV advertising, yeah.
Who did you... maybe.
No, I worked
in advertising as well, actually, for a while. Yeah, I was doing newspaper and also internet.
So you were the competitor.
Yeah, exactly.
I had to try and convince everyone that TV was a better idea.
Yeah.
But so I worked for various advertising agencies. I worked for I've been doing sales. I was doing sales up until the age of about 25. I don't think there's anything wrong with the job. It's very, it's super easy to go on Twitter and go, never have a job. But that can't work for everyone. Like, it's stupid. Not everyone can be an entrepreneur. Some people have to work jobs.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. However, I was always hustling. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Even when I had a job, I was always trying to make side money. Even through my job. Even now, man, I used to go to deals and say the website's fucking $3,000. And they say, I can't afford it. I'd try and sell it. They couldn't afford it. I'd just call them up later and say, you know what? If we keep off the books, I'll do it for $2,000. Don't tell my company. I got a guy. He's good.
Yeah.
It's the same guy. I went to one of the guys who was making the websites for the company and said, look, I'm a backhander.
Yeah.
So I was always fucking hustling money.
Yeah.
So that's how I was. So I was getting contracts, and as long as I met my sales quota just enough, then I was getting all the side contracts on the side and making all the profit. So I was always that guy. So I don't think that, there's nothing wrong with having a job, but you just need to be able to always keep your eyes open if there's some fucking cash,
Yeah. Did that come from your dad or from your family, do you think? Or
Yeah, I just kind of, it's just a personal philosophy of understanding that. And I say this in a way that's powerful. I don't say this in an anti-human way. I say this in an opposite. Nobody gives a fuck about you.
Yeah.
So a lot of people wouldn't do that because they'd be like, oh, my job, my boss, my da-da-da-da. If you died, they might be upset for a couple days, but they'd carry on with their life. The company would continue to function.
Yeah.
So why would you be loyal to a company? The company's not going to end if you end.
Yeah.
Like if you got cancer and you needed free wages for the next 10 years, would they pay it? Would they fuck? They can't afford it.
Yeah.
So I was always very much like, look, nothing personal, but if the company had the chance to screw me for profit, they probably would.
Yeah.
So I'm screwing it. That's how I was as a person.
Yeah.
And even when I got caught, they didn't even fire me because I was so fucking good at sales. They didn't want to fucking fire me because I was the best guy. But when they caught me, they said, why'd you do that? I said, because there's a chance to make money.
Yeah.
Our price was $3,995. He couldn't afford it. I came to you and said, let's do it cheaper. You said no. So there was $2,000 on the table. What the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah.
I took the money.
Yeah.
So I was very much like that because I just have a very individualistic nature. My nature is very much like, not in a horrible way, not in a fuck people over way. I'd never like fuck over a friend or fuck over family, but it's just very much like, I'm the only one who's going to improve my life.
Yeah.
It's down to me. I got to do something. There's some money to make, so I'm going to make the fucking money. That's just how I was,
totally,
as a person.
Totally, yeah. And in terms of the business endeavours, I mean, obviously you've got this entrepreneurial side. I saw your video about, what was it, the aloe vera video. That was a good. It's a good one. But I suppose what we see you doing, most on a top line level is the personal brand stuff. You call it, because you've obviously got this very strong personal brand. You're on Twitter. You've got your videos. You're doing podcasts and everything else. Now, to me, I think personal brand is the way forward. Not for everybody, but I think it's a very powerful thing because if you can build up an audience, if you can build up a following, then you sort of future-proof yourself to an extent.
Absolutely.
Because you've got people who'll listen to you, who'll buy stuff from you, and you can monetize that. Now, you've done it incredibly successfully, and obviously you keep getting knocked down and you come back up again. I think that's something to do with... my theory is it's two things. I reckon it's because you're unapologetic, so you say whatever the fuck you want to say, and people love that. But also, you're a really good storyteller as well. So you can tell these stories. You do it on Twitter. Telling the stories about your family and everything, but also on Instagram. You know, would you agree with that? Do you think those two things?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. Personal brandings are fantastic, but you just have to make sure you don't get banned because that's what keeps happening to me. But yeah, personal brand is certainly the way to go. And I think that everyone can. What you have to do if you want to build a personal brand, I believe, is people are not as stupid as we say that. Well, it's duality. People are morons and people aren't morons. But people are very good at sniffing out, I believe, a fake or a fraud. They need to know authenticity. So I don't know who's listening to this right now. Maybe some of you are thinking, this Tate guy, he's lying, he's talking shit. But everyone else knows I'm not lying about the women, I'm not lying about the money, I'm not lying about the pimping, I'm not lying about nothing. They can tell it's authentic. And it doesn't matter, that's my particular story that sells. It doesn't matter if you're a fucking web developer, it doesn't matter if you're a surfer, it doesn't matter if you're a florist. If you're authentic and they can sense the authenticity, that's where the money is. And I think a lot of people I don't think it's on, maybe it's on accident, but a lot of people either hype themselves or they try and change themselves or they learn copywriting and think, well, I need to write this way to sell. And a lot of the time they lose authenticity. Like, I never think about what I tweet. I just fucking just, fuck you, blah, blah. Buy this or be a loser. Like, that's, but it's authentic. And I think that what people are looking for from a personal brand is always authenticity. Doesn't mean you have to be aggressive, doesn't mean you have to be abrasive, it means you have to be yourself. That's what it is, Yeah,
absolutely. Because I mean, like you say, the personal brand can be many, many different things. I mean, you've got a very distinct one, which is based on your personality and your background. But equally, I don't know. I mean, like who,
There's a whole bunch of people with complete soft personal brands.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But because they are themselves, so you can do absolutely anything with a personal brand. And I believe anybody out there probably has a message that other people like them want to hear. Absolutely. It's just a matter of marketing it and then building the following. And building the following isn't that easy, but it's like everything. It's hard work. There's no such thing as easy money in the world.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
It's out there. It's out there.
So on that note, you've obviously, as we said, you've been shut down on Twitter several times.
Yeah.
It seems like this website goes down from time to time. There's obviously shit going on. Do you genuinely think that there's an effort to silence you? And if so, where from and why?
Okay, I'm telling you now, friend. I am absolutely on some kind of list.
Yeah.
If I try and do anything, it's hard.
Yeah.
If I've never been through airport security without being separately searched. Ever.
Really?
If I try and open a bank, they won't. You go try to open a bank right now, you'll leave with an account. Me, it's a 2-week review process. Don't know why. I can't start a PayPal.
Yeah.
I can't. No payment processor will work for me. Stripe, Squared, Sage, they'll all close me down. I can't. My Twitter gets banned all the time. My Facebook is so closely watched. If I say anything even half offensive, I got banned for 60 days for saying that Romanian girls were hotter than English women. I said Romanian Tinder is completely different to English Tinder. That was what I said. Ban. Like I am on a list of watch this dude.
Yeah.
And I think I've ended up there. I ended up there on my own fault. One, I went on InfoWars.
Yes.
Which is always going to cause you problems. And two, I was probably the only verified Twitter account saying the kind of shit I say. I was verified at the beginning.
Yeah.
And when I was coming out with shit with the blue tick as well, people were like, who the fuck is this dude? And all the other verifieds are pussies.
Yeah.
And I wasn't.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely on some kind of list, man. I'm telling you. And when you start to get banned from things, it's real. It's real, and it comes out of nowhere, and it's frustrating. The site goes down because you get a payment processor, they review the site, they agree, they set you up, everything's fine, and one day you just can't log in, and they send you some generic. The email makes no sense. We've decided to terminate our relationship. We're apologetic. No reasons. It's just everything's just locked out. And look what the fuck's going on. It's just how it is.
Yeah. I mean, and you've been incredibly well connected as well. So obviously, you've done the interview with Paul Joseph Watson. You've been on InfoWars. There was a picture with Candace Owens and so on, and even up to the White House itself. So I mean, and I think this is. I think part of that is part of your allure in a way. I think there's this fascinating sort of slightly enigmatic side to you. But I mean, just on a basic level, with that kind of meeting those kinds of people, getting that kind of influence, is that a side effect of just having money, or is it a testament to your networking skills? And if I'm assuming it's probably the latter. So if it's the latter, is there any advice you can give to guys who want to start to grow their own influence?
Absolutely. So it's certainly a combination of the two, and I'll tell you why. But firstly, we'll start with the networking skills. But you have to be able to provide value to people.
Yeah.
I get this all the time. I get inboxes. Hey, Tate, I want to learn this. I want to learn that. I'll do anything to learn. Da, da, da. And I'm like, okay. And I'm looking at it going, okay, I teach you X, Y, Z. What the fuck do I get? Like, you have to, and I know this has been said a lot of times, but you have to be able to offer value to people, especially important people. I think another mistake people make with networking is, and I know that copywriters will disagree with this, is that they're too long-winded with their messages. So I get emails all the time from copywriters trying to get me to agree to let them do my emails. And they send me these really long, really properly articulated emails and I sit there and think, what a waste of time. I ain't got time. I don't know you. If you were to email me saying, in capitals, I have money for you. Done. I'd be like, what money? Who the fuck are you? A lot of the networking, a lot of people are like, just too much. You have to understand, if you're going to approach someone who doesn't know you, they don't know you for shit. They don't know you. So you got to get your message concise as a motherfucker. It's got to intrigue them enough to reply. And you got to offer them value. And you can do that in a line. When I first spoke to Paul Joseph Watson, is when I was verified, so fair enough, he would have saw the message. I messaged him saying, I said, our podcast will break the internet.
Yeah.
That's it. And he didn't reply at first. But then he started liking my tweets, so he must have thought, who the fuck? And started watching who I was. If I would have said, hi, Mr. Watson, my name is this, I'm a kickboxer, and I was thinking maybe, he wouldn't have fucking given a fuck. He doesn't care. But what I was saying to him is, I can make you bigger.
Yes.
You know where I'm coming from. And this is the mistake a lot of people make with networking, I think, is you don't offer value, you're not concise enough, and on top of it all, you're not arrogant enough. You gotta be. There's nothing wrong with arrogance. You can be arrogant and it can be successful.
Yeah.
You know. So
Yeah.
you need to say to people, look, if someone were to start emailing me,
we're being closed down. It's happening.
they heard us. Oh,
That's it.
yeah, that was done. That'll actually be pretty cool in the podcast.
That's it. We've escaped the we've been questioned, but they've let us go for the time being. So
MI6.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to offer people value, and when I say arrogant, I don't mean arrogant about yourself. You got to be arrogant for them. You got if someone's more important than you got to be saying to them, look, I will make you bigger. I will make you money. I will do this. I will do that. You can't be saying, please teach me this. I need this. I get that all the time. Tate, I see your life and I'm unhappy with my life and I really want what you have. Sorry, bro, I don't know you.
Yeah.
So what do you want me to do? Go buy you a car? The fuck? Like, you got to approach things the right way. So that's the first thing, certainly. And then second thing is finances help. And the reason finances help is because you got to be able to take chances. Like
take a flight.
When I met Trump Jr., he didn't know if he had time. If you're around, maybe. Now, the chance of meeting Trump Jr. was big, but when someone goes, if you're around, maybe, most people wouldn't fly from Bucharest to New York for that. But me and my brother got up, flew Bucharest to New York, bought the flights, hotels, food, everything. We sat around for 4 days. We spunked fucking $7,000 sitting there waiting for a maybe text. And we got it. But maybe you won't. So you also need that freedom and that financial flexibility to be able to do those things. But in general, I think that's one of the keys to networking. You got to be able to provide value. Now, if you're if you're a guy with, I know I talk too much, bro.
Not at all.
If you're a guy with, and you're sitting there thinking, well, what do I have to offer? I don't have much to offer. That's fine, but you still have things to offer. If you can still be, doting, and you can still be loyal, and you can still show tenacity, and you can still want to learn, but you still need to approach it in the right way. You can't say, Tate, I really want to be successful like you, so teach me. That is completely different to saying, Tate, in exchange for you teaching me, I'm going to make you lots of money. Yes. Now that is completely different. One guy's coming to me saying he's going to make me money. One guy's coming to me saying, I want your money. Well, fuck. So people don't look at it the right way. And I see a lot, copywriters are the worst. I see a lot of copywriter emails, and I scroll through them and think, bro, I ain't reading this. I'm sure it might convince me if I read it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't fucking read it.
Yeah.
So it's like, you got to be to the point with it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's that old theory that the longer the copy, the more it convinces you and everything. Yeah. But I'm not sure in this day and age, you know what I mean?
We live in we got attention spans of seconds.
Yeah.
So you're right. The reason they make the copy so long is it's effective if I read it. You're talking to a guy who has a lot of shit going on, who gets 500 emails a day. I don't read, I click. Next, delete. If it's that important, they'll email me again. We ain't got time for that at the highest level. If you think Trump Jr. is going to sit there and read your copywriting emails, like, come on. You got to get realistic.
I think back in the day when everyone had a Reader's Digest once a week, and it was like you'd see some long copy thing in the back, you might read it because they had fuck all else to do. But now, of course, it's
we live in exactly. It's a
different story.
2 or 3 seconds. So.
But I just wonder if clearly, Trump, Brexit, Putin, yellow vests.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit going on.
Yeah.
And I think we're all aware on some level that there is a sort of a war of misinformation going on out there. Now, this is a very general question, and I mean, answer it in whatever way you want. But as somebody who I suspect you probably a little bit more insight into this than the guy in the street. I mean, have you got any comment on that at all in terms of what the fuck is going on?
Man, fake news is real.
Yeah.
And this is why the news hates Trump, because before Trump, the idea of fake news was not nearly as powerful as it is today. He coined the term fake news. Before Trump, when did you hear fake news? No one said fake news. Now everyone's running around saying fake news, fake news. Yeah. Everyone's investigating the news reports. Everyone's starting to realize how much of it's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's all fucking garbage from the head up. And the reason for this is very simple, man. The people talk about like the power at be and what they want. And it makes it sound like it's this little cabal
shadowy
in a room.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that's true, because I don't believe that that people are smart enough to pull that off. I don't think it can be like that. I just think that we live in a society, like you touched on earlier, where we're trying to cater for everybody. And the reality of life is that at least 50% of people are below average intelligence. At least 50% are below average looks or below average anything else. Battery, maybe.
Yeah, I think we're down the battery. Anyway,
cool. But if you're catering for all these kind of people, how do I say this without sounding like a psycho? But a group can only move as fast as its slowest person. And society ends up getting watered down or changed or adjusted so everyone can succeed. And I think in many ways, what that does is that damages some of the evolutionary, what's the word I'm looking for? Veracity. The fact that it's kill or be killed. You know, dog eat dog. A lot of that's they're trying to disintegrate that. And I understand why they're doing it. And I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. It's not evil. I don't think it's evilly intentioned. People think that there's these people behind that are evilly intentioned. I don't think it's like that. I think it's just when they're trying to build a society that lets everyone do well and no one feel bad. Don't feel bad for being fat. Don't feel bad for being stupid. Every loser gets a wife. It's just difficult to come, and they end up just castrating the outliers.
Yeah.
They castrate the extremes because extremities, people like me, what good am I for the society? Like they want a dude who meets a fucking average ass wife, has average ass kids, pays his average ass taxes, and even though his wife doesn't fuck him, he'll sit there and won't get a divorce, and he'll just sit there jerking off in a sexless marriage, paying for the kids and paying his taxes.
Yeah.
They don't want dudes like me and you who refuse to listen to anybody. What good am I?
Yeah, exactly. And that actually brings me on really nicely to my next question, because I wanted to talk about this thing about, because I see you as being the ultimate sort of like Nietzsche kind of Ubermensch, you know, man going the individual, going their own way, etc., etc. So, and of course on Twitter and elsewhere we see a lot of guys who are like, no, but what about the good of society? What about Western civilization and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And, you know, I take the piss out of that, but I see that, I kind of see where they're coming from. But I've always been more individualistic, and I sense that you are as well. But how do you see yourself on that balance? Because obviously, they're, you know, at the same time, we do owe a debt to society to some extent, because, you know. So, what's your thoughts on that?
My view is very simple. Firstly, I don't believe you can pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
If I want to preach the values and the virtues of masculinity, if I'm going to talk about how important it is that men are men, well then I need to be able to show that I'm a man. I need to be able to do it myself. Like what am I preaching if I'm just sitting still saying men need to have honor and valor and courage? Well, where's my honor and my valor and my courage?
Yeah.
So you can't pour from an empty cup. That's the first thing. Second thing, trying to change the entire world or trying to change society as a whole, that's a losing battle, bro. Like you're fighting these Googles and Facebooks and Twitters that can ban you, and banks and governments. Like, you're fighting a battle you can't win. The only thing you can do is affect your direct sphere in a way so poignantly that you at least have a knock-on effect. All we can do is be the best men we can be, have the best sons we can have. And I believe that's all you can do. And I guess that's kind of like the Tradcon way, but just without the monogamy. But I'm not going to stand up and try and fix society, because one, they're not going to listen. Two, I'm going to destroy my own life. And three, most of these people don't want to be saved. The Matrix says they don't want to be unplugged. Yeah. These people don't want to be unplugged. You look at, there's heroes, there's British heroes. I'll say it. Tommy Robinson, he's a hero. And he's trying to save people who don't want to be saved. They see him as the enemy. You know, it's like what you going through. So my view is very individualistic, because I think, one, it's the only way you can make a genuine impact. And two, it's the best way to live a healthy life yourself. And three, I mean, these societies don't want to be saved. It's just a losing battle. So
yes, I would agree with all of that, really. So there's 3 points you've made that I really agree with. One is that I don't believe the conspiracy theorists that there's this shadowy elite group, because I just don't believe human beings are that organised. To be honest, absolutely. I think if you see in any big corporation, you see behind the scenes, it's a shit show. And so I don't believe that suddenly somehow they've got this whole world domination plan worked out. It just doesn't seem realistic. And I also agree that, well, for a start, I don't think individually we can change very much anyway. Which may sound a bit sort of like defeatist, but I mean, you've got to be fucking realistic, haven't you?
Well, that's the thing, because like you said, we're talking about there's no international cabal. So what is it? It's just globalism. It's just greed from huge corporations who don't give a shit about country borders or ethnicities or anything. All they care about is important consumers who are going to buy some product. And it's all of it. So it's not a shadowy cabal. It's just the fact that there's elites, and not a few of them, millions of them in different positions around the world, all chasing money to a point where they've just sacrificed all the other things we believe the West needs, like honor and valor and borders and all this other stuff. Anything that benefits the bottom line, and that's usually globalism. And that's what it is. And you're saying, are we going to stand up against Google? Just ban our accounts. I tried. I've lost 5 Twitters. Like, how far can you go? Like, you can't stand up against these people. They're too powerful and they're too rich. So it's like, what can you do?
Exactly, and that's why I tend towards individualism, because I think in the end, you've got to look out for yourself, you've got to look out for your family, you've got to build yourself up the best that you can, and it's only then that you might have a chance of helping other people.
Absolutely.
And obviously, like you're now helping other people because you've got your courses and so on, and you're the whatever help that you give on Twitter and other social media. But you wouldn't be able to do that if you were still sitting around,
exactly.
In Luton, sort of working in a chip shop or something.
Exactly. So if you sit and you just only talk about what needs to happen, I mean, we only have so many human years. I can only talk about the things I can talk about because I've lived them, and that took 32 years to get here. Like, so it took a whole bunch of time anyway. So you absolutely have to be an individualist to build yourself to even a point of status where you can even make a point anyone's going to listen to. That's the first thing. And second thing, like you said, you look after yourself. You look after the people directly around you. You try and raise good kids. You try and have that kind of influence, and that's all I'll do. If I die and if there's 2 other versions of Andrew Tate on the planet, 2 sons, and I've instilled them with my values, then I've done the best I can do. I mean, that's my duty to society fulfilled. I've reproduced. I produced sons who aren't little little shits. They're not going to commit any crimes. They're not going to stab anyone. They're relatively good people. They don't take shit from nobody, but they're definitely not bad people. And that's my societal contribution. And if you're not happy with that, fuck you.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's all I can do.
Exactly. Do you believe that it is essential to reproduce in order to have a meaningful life, or do you think that people can...
That's a good question. And I'm going to say yes, and I'll say yes why. One, I think men should reproduce much later. I think as a man, you can have kids in your late 30s, early 40s. From a political standpoint, politically, Westerners aren't having kids, so we're being outbred, and we're going to be destroyed. But me having a bunch of kids ain't going to fix that, so whatever.
Yeah.
Because the average number of kids being had in Africa and Middle East is like 7. So, like, whatever. The game's over. And 200 years from now, the game's over. There's no more white Christians because they're going to be outbred. But that's a completely different argument. I think that life now, the reason people used to have kids much younger is because life was a lot simpler. Now we live lives which allow us to be constantly entertained. Like me, I'm 30s. You're 30s, I'm assuming?
40s, 40s.
Fucking hell,
I know.
You look good, bro. You look
Hey,
good,
man.
You look good. But
moisturizer.
Yeah. we have a lot of things we can do.
Yes.
We can buy cars, we can travel, we can watch TV, Netflix, whatever, video games. You always find something. So it's not like it used to be where you have kids because there's nothing else to fucking do.
Yeah.
But so now we stay entertained much, much longer. And that's the reason people aren't having kids. But I do think there is a point, maybe in your 50s, maybe in your 60s, maybe in your 70s, there is going to be a point where you're going to sit and think, okay, I wish there was another version of me. I think that is going to happen to everyone. I do think that sooner or later, maybe it'll take a long time, and different people have different times, but there's going to be a point where you think, I'm not going to live that much longer. I wish I at least left something.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do think it's fulfilling. I do think it's primarily fulfilling. I certainly do want kids. I do want them. But I'm just not going to have a traditional life. I'm just going to have kids. That's the reality.
Yeah. What about the argument if somebody creates some great work or something, then in a sense they've left something behind through that?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really good argument. I just kind of, I don't know.
On a primal level, though, I suppose.
Yeah, I didn't want kids till my dad died. And when my dad died, people were messaging me, but he lives through you. And that kind of made me think, who am I going to live through?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, it hit me within that same day. I was like, that you realize that. And there's also the other things we all know. If you're on your deathbed, no one gives a... If you're on your deathbeth and you have an hour left, you don't give a fuck about your Lambo. You care about who? People.
Yeah.
So, we're all humans. And I think a lot of the reason people shy away from having kids is because they don't like the idea of the trad life. But my view is, I can do both.
Yes.
So why would I not have kids? Because for me, I don't have to give up anything to have kids. Because my frame is so solid that I refuse to bend. So I'm going to be the same fucking person. So to me, I don't see any disadvantage to having kids. Like, I think I'm going to have children. I'm going to love them. I'm going to see them when I want to see them. I also believe, and this is something that's an unpopular opinion, but I'll make it very clear, a father's job is part-time. A mother's job is full-time. A father's job is not full-time. People think to raise good kids, you need to be home every day, full-time, like a mom. That's not true. And that's not true because men have always had jobs. Men have always gone away to sea or been sailors or worked in the mines. Men have never been at home.
Yes.
So you got to instill discipline, and you can do that. I'm telling you now, I was raised, I love my dad, and I'm fantastic for all the lessons he taught me, and I'm happy with how I turned out. I saw him once a week.
Yes.
He was away at chess tournaments.
Yeah.
So but if I fucked up, he'd call me on a Wednesday and say, I'm beating your ass on Sunday. and he did. So another reason I think men shy away from it is they have this idea that I have to give up my entire life.
You
no,
have
you
to become
don't.
domesticated.
Yeah.
That's what people don't like.
That's what they don't like. It's not that they don't like the kids. They don't like the domestication. Whereas my view is you haven't got to be domesticated.
Yeah.
You can have kids with a woman, and you can make sure that you haven't got to give her unlimited money. Don't let her buy Gucci. Kids are fucking cheap. I don't care what people say. Oh, it's so expensive. A kid eats 10 quid of food a week, and they wear Primark. Like, what the fuck are you putting your kid in Gucci shoes for? It's bullshit. So kids ain't that much money. If you have a woman who's half sensible, and even if you split up and you have a half semi-good arrangement, you can have the children. You can see them 2 or 3 days a week. They can love you as a father. Everything can be fine. You can carry on with your fucking crazy life.
Yeah.
That's my genuine view. I think you can pull it off.
And I think that's a much more... It's funny that they call it traditional, isn't it? This idea that you have to be the father and you're there the whole time. Because for me, I mean, if I look back even to my granddad and think beyond that, like my granddad was a very absent figure, I think, in my dad's life. Because the father was going out to work and he was like...
He was going to war!
Well, yeah, my granddad was in the RAF, so, he was doing that shit. He wasn't, like, playing with dolls' houses with his kids.
Exactly.
And now we get this idea that fatherhood is like, oh, yes, I was having tea parties with my daughter.
You don't need none of that shit. So this is why I say to people, when I've had some people say to me, I don't want kids. I say, why? And they go, oh, this, that, this. I say, bro, you can have children. You can continue with your life. You can raise those kids fantastically. Those kids aren't going to be bad kids. You can be a fantastic dad 1 day a week.
Yes.
That's the reality. A mother's job's full-time, not yours. So I do say to men, don't have kids early, because I think a man's prime is his 30s and 40s. I think a woman's prime is when she's 19 to 23. 24, 25, whatever. And men don't hit their prime till later. We have to make some money. We got to get some experience. You got to get some wisdom. So I think you should take your time, but I don't see any reason why a man wouldn't want to at least have some kids. I understand, especially, in the West, it can be difficult, and like alimony and all this shit and laws and stuff. I kind of get it all, but also I kind of believe that if you're a player and you've had enough girls, you're going to meet a girl who's sensible enough, who's not a complete dickhead. And she's going to understand that the kids are better with you in the life. And that, that you're not a multimillionaire, but you're going to give what you can afford. And that you may not last forever, but the children are that you both love the kids. And I know loads of people who pull that off. It ain't. It's just, if you choose a complete chav, stupid woman, you're going to have problems. But if you get a semi-sensible woman and you do your best and the kids are happy and smiling, fuck, it ain't that bad.
Yeah. So... bit of a deep one, coming to the end now, but a bit of a deep one to get the real like Tate philosophy on life. I mean, do you believe? Because I think you said you're not a religious man. You're an atheist. Yeah. Do you believe there's an overall meaning to life, or do you feel? Well, I'm sorry, I won't ask a leading question. What's your view on that?
I think that life is one big accident. So my view is very much like when I say I'm an atheist, people say, well, why? What I hear a lot from people is, well, why are you? What's the point then? Like, why be here? And I say, well, there's no fucking point.
Yes.
But that doesn't make it any less of an experience.
Yes.
For me, I believe this is all one big accident. Humans have evolved. I believe in evolution. We've evolved. We've evolved to be the smartest creatures on the planet. If you actually study evolution, and most religious people never have, there's more evidence for evolution than there is for gravity. Like it's not, they call it the theory. They call it the theory of evolution, but it's the theory of gravity. That's just a scientific term. Evolution's proven. Evolution happened. Yeah. So we all evolved. We evolved to be the smartest. That's what we evolved to be. That's fine. But even the chance that you're you and I'm me is 1 in a billion because of all the other sperm that could have turned out.
Yeah.
So we're here by one big accident. And to me, to a lot of people, to religious people, when I say that, they find that demoralizing. Whereas to me, I find it powerful. I'm here on accident. So what the fuck? If I'm here on accident, it's all a big fucking fuck up and I'm here. Why not live life?
Yeah.
What the fuck else am I going to do?
Exactly, yeah.
So I want to fuck girls, I want to do this, I want to drive cars, I want to make some money. And you can also use it the other way. If I ever feel sad or down or depressed, I can sit and think, yeah, but it's a big accident. I'm here. I'm depressed now, but who gives a fuck? I'll be happy tomorrow. And you learn to enjoy the whole spectrum of emotions. Yeah. Enjoy the good, enjoy the bad. Like there's no good without bad anyway. There's no light without dark. So I just see the whole thing as a big accident, and I'm looking forward. I will procreate. I do believe in having kids, I guess. Yeah. And I've talked about it. But besides that, I just try and be as happy as I can each day. And that's it. I mean, no one, everyone out here, if you're listening to this now and you've got fucking problems and stresses and da-da-da, the reality is your problems aren't real problems. Okay, the credit card payment's late. Okay, you can't afford the car you want. Okay, this, okay, that. There's people with no food to eat, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I know it's easy to say, and I know it's cliche, but if you can actually put your life in that perspective, I can eat when I'm hungry, I can sleep when I'm tired. You know, there's more I could have got, but I ain't got it. But who gives a fuck? I'm gonna smile anyway. And I think that's just the best way to look at life. I just think it's all just one big fuck up. And we're here fucking it up, and it is what it is, you know.
But yeah, exactly, and that, like you say, that to me that represents a massive opportunity, because it's a bit like, well, this is all fucking random, you know, and like this may never have happened, but how awesome is that? Because then you can create your own reality, create your own meaning.
Absolutely, exactly. And if you're religious, you must have a completely... I actually find it interesting that a lot of the red pill guys are religious. I find it interesting... I said this before, that I want to debate them, because I find it interesting that we have so many similar worldviews, but with completely different foundational views on how life is. These people have foundational views that I simply cannot agree with. I do not agree with a life after death. I do not agree with having my actions judged. I do not, on all of these things they believe, I believe 0%. I think that's all complete garbage. So it would be an interesting podcast sometime to talk to one of them, but they never do, because I think they know that it's going to be difficult to defend their religious perspective. But it's difficult now. But, you know, it's all a big fucking accident. So if you're here on accident, you know, you only get to go around once. You don't get a rerun. And if you did get a rerun, if you're on your deathbed, whenever that is, and you think back on your life, the only things you're going to regret is all the time you wasted being in a bad mood. You're going to sit back and think, all that times I stayed in and I was miserable on Friday nights. All the times I argued with that person, I was in a bad mood. All the times I was stressed over that thing, I can't remember what it was now. Like all the negativity you had, you're going to think back and think, what the fuck was I doing that for?
Yeah.
Why was I not just laughing? That's what it's going to be. Yeah. So when I'm in a stressful situation, and trust me, bro, I'll say it now, one thing, I had a Bitcoin wallet hacked. I lost $250,000 last week. You know? But literally, me and my brother sat there, and obviously you're pissed off. But we're like, in 10 years from now, are we still going to be pissed off? Well, no. So what's the point in being pissed off now? You can't get it back.
Yes.
So it's just very much like you have to just learn to train your brain to just be like, fuck it. You know? And it takes practice, but I see people complaining about stuff. Oh, this had my car broke down, It's like, bro, so fucking smile. You know, like, I don't get people. Because when you're old, you're going to regret all the perfectly young, healthy years you had.
Yeah.
Fucking around sad.
Yeah, I heard you on another show, and I like this idea that you have to say, well, you're going to get over it at some point anyway, so why not just do that now? Why you have to elongate it?
It's exactly the same as we said earlier with the chess position and the girl. You're going to lose her anyway. So you just do it now or never. Like I'm very much like that. Eventually you're going to get over it, so why waste the time being negative about it? And I've super trained myself to always be, not always be positive, but just to always be, I wouldn't even say I'm that positive person. I'm very neutral. It's very difficult to make me ecstatically happy, but it's nearly impossible to depress me. I'm always neutral. I'm super stoic. But I've trained myself to be that way because I don't see the point. I don't see the advantage to just being fucking negative. And when I hear people complaining and crying, oh, poor me, I got depression now, blah, blah, blah. I just sit and think, do you think anyone gives a fuck? The world doesn't give a fuck. The sun's going to keep on rising.
Yes.
There's still going to be happy people out here living happy lives while you sit around being sad. So what the fuck, why are you telling people? No one cares about you. And this is when I say earlier about individualism and how I find it as a power, the most powerful thing you can do as a person is wake up and realize no one gives a fuck about me but me.
Yes.
So I'm going to do it or no one's going to do it. You know, you got to be that kind of guy.
Yeah.
And these are the most powerful people on earth.
Yeah, and it's weird how you sort of like, you combine on the one hand, the sort of the arrogance, but on the other hand, the humility. You've got to have the yin and yang with it, haven't you?
Absolutely. You know, you've got to realize that in many, many ways, even Donald Trump himself, we're all unimportant. We're fucking decaying biomatter, whatever. You know, it's like, it is what it is. And I respect people who have fun. I said this before. I met a homeless guy when I was in Slovakia, in that town we were talking about earlier. And he was... I was walking around the street. He stopped me. He said, "Can I have money for vodka?" And I said, "Well, that's pretty honest." And he goes, "Where are you going?" I said, "To the bar." He goes, "Well, you're a young man. You're going to the bar. You're going to find pretty girls, and you're staying in the Hilton Hotel, and you want vodka. I have nothing, so of course I want vodka."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, how did you end up homeless?" So I bought him some vodka, and I sat there and spoke to him for a minute. I said, "How did you end up homeless?" Blah blah blah. He goes, "I chose to be homeless." I was like, "Why?" He goes, "Because I want to drink, and I don't want anyone to tell me what to do." And I was sitting there thinking, you know what? This dude's happier than 99% of people in corporate jobs. Who the fuck am I to tell him his life's wrong?
Yes.
You know, there's always going to be someone who'll buy him vodka. He's happy. That's what he wants. So, and that's my view on life is that. If you're a happy person, you're a successful person. It's not about making loads of money. If you're smiling, you're successful. If you're fucking genuinely cheerful, you're successful. Because what the fuck's the point in doing anything else? Another thing I said in one of my videos before, and I'll say it again here. I love when people explain all their problems to me and this, that, that, and I say, I guarantee you there is someone out there in the world today who would swap lives with you in a second. All the problems you've got, all the problems I've got, I lost $250,000 in a Bitcoin wallet, whatever. If I were to sit there and someone with terminal cancer who can't walk anymore, or lost both their legs in a car crash, or whatever, and you were to say, do you want to swap? But I lost money in a Bitcoin wallet. Like, so who gives a fuck? You swap. People would take your place.
Yeah.
And you're still miserable. You got to be able to look outside yourself and think beyond it and realize how, I know it's all cliche bullshit I'm saying, but everyone says this, but no one does it. No one sits and actually thinks, fuck, I was hungry and I bought a sandwich and I can eat the sandwich and now I'm not hungry. That's pretty cool. You got to think that way, you know? Because there's people who can't do it. So if you think that way, it's pretty impossible to get negative. That's my opinion anyway.
Yeah, cool, man, cool. Well, look, we're nearing the end. One final point, I guess, to try and wrap everything up in a nice bow, if we can.
Yeah.
If there's the archetypal guy who's sitting watching this, listening to this in his mum's basement, and he's there, and he's the ultimate chode, and he can't get girls, he's lacks confidence, he wants, he hasn't got any money, etc., etc., and he looks at you and he's like, yeah, but Tate is rich and he's ripped, and he's like, blah, blah, blah. What advice would you give that guy to start to turn things around? Right.
I'm going to tell him that everything I've already said earlier about no one giving a fuck about him is very important. Look, bro, I'll talk to him directly. No one's going to kick your door down, hand you a hot girl, and give you keys to a Ferrari. If you're waiting for that to happen, it's never going to fucking happen. So that's the first thing. So you have to understand, if you want it, only you can get it. That's absolutely the first thing. And the second thing you have to understand is happiness and contentment and girls and money and everything you want in life is at the top of a mountain. Nothing is at the bottom. Because if it's at the bottom, someone else has already scooped it up. If there is a girl out there who is slave-like, if there's a girl out there who's 10 out of 10 with big tits, who's slave-like obedience, who's perfectly good-looking and does everything her man says, and she'll allow you to cheat on her, and she'll live with you in the basement, if that girl exists, someone else has already found her, bro, and she's with him. Like, the low-lying fruit's gone. Everything you want's at the top. So, you have two choices. You either go through hell, climbing the mountain to get what you want, or you go through hell not having what you want. This is the only two real options. So when people say to me, oh, but this, but that, I try to explain to them, adversity is the only way to get anything of value. That's why it has value. If everyone could have a six-pack without work, then a six-pack wouldn't mean anything. A six-pack means something because they know you had to work to get it. The adversity is what adds value to it. Yeah. So my answer to these people is, think of what you want, look at how difficult it is to get, be happy that it's difficult, because that's the only reason you fucking want it. If it was easy, you wouldn't even want it. Yeah. And get to work or don't. Those are the two choices. Get to work or don't. Yes. But if you choose don't come on Twitter with an anon account and attack you and me and go, oh, you're a loser, it's easy for you. Because you had your choice too. You're an able-bodied person. You can get up and learn to fight. You might be better than me. How the fuck do you know? Train the same hours I trained. You might be even better. But you don't know because you never fucking bothered. So it's it's you either do it or you don't. And this is why on my website when I teach and I sell my courses on CobraTate.com, it's still very much like, it's down to you. Like, I can tell you how to do it. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force them to drink. And I'm very realistic about that. And a lot of people are coming around and talking excuses and saying things, but when it comes to taking action, they decide not to take action. And that's self-sabotage. I can't help you if you're that type of person. If I want something, I'm going to go get it. That's who I am. If I want it, I'm getting it. Fuck you. So, you got to be that way. You got to be that way.
And that's a good note to end on, because obviously your website, you've now got a number of courses, haven't you, that are live and available. So you've got the PhD program, you've got how to make money, you've got...
I've got a lot of them, I've got
chess.
So it's basically, everything I sell are courses which I've lived. I'm not going to be one of those guys who's going to sell like a generic course on business when I haven't done it myself, So I'm only selling things I've done. So I have my PhD program, which is basically how I met girls and how I convinced them to work on webcam for me. So it's how to pimp girls from the start to finish. I've got how to run a webcam company for anyone who wants to follow my 6 footsteps. I've already spoke to a guy this morning. He's making $300, $400 a day now. He's only been doing it 2 weeks. He's starting to make money. He's doing good. I've got a body language course. I've got a course on chess, a course on physical fitness. All the things I know that have helped me in my life. Yes. Like body language is another big one. One of the times we were jumped in Moldova, the only reason they fucking stopped coming at us is because of our, we held frame, but thank fuck, because we were going to get our asses kicked. So you got, so these are all lessons I've learned, and I teach things I've done myself. So it's not going to be any kind of fakery or hocus pocus bullshit. This is genuinely what I've done, and I have a 100% successful, 100% approve rate. I've not had a single negative review of any course, which amazes even me, bro. Because everyone, you're always gonna have a hater. I've never had anyone say that was not worth it ever.
Yeah.
So, you know,
that's good. Awesome. That's awesome. And you've got the war room as well, haven't you?
Yeah, so the war room was put together. Basically, I had a lot of guys saying, look, Tate, I want to work with you, kind of like networking. And I said, all right, well, if we have 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 guys here all trying to do the same thing, we should all be in the same place talking about it. So we have guys in there who are making money from drop shipping. We have copywriters. We have e-com guys. We have guys who have started following me on webcam. We have guys doing lots of different things. We're all in one place, and we're all talking constantly. And now we have different people helping each other. You need a copywriter. You need a website design. You need a Shopify store. There's someone else in the war room already doing what you need, and we're all cross-helping each other, and everyone's starting to, like, new businesses are appearing and stuff. So basically, it's a membership to a club, but it's go-getters.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the biggest problem a lot of people have is they don't have a network of people around them who are go-getters.
Yeah.
You're sitting there and you just play video games and your friends just play video games. Well, who's going to break you out the mold? Or if you start talking to these dudes and listening to people who are your age or younger doing amazing shit, you might start to do amazing shit yourself. So that's what the war room's for. It's really just about getting that network of genuine go-getters, and it's doing fantastic. So
awesome stuff. Cool. Well, thanks ever so much, Andrew. We've been going for quite a long time, but it's been a very instructive. It's been an instructive and really revealing conversation, I think.
Yeah,
so,
man, it's been certainly good.
So they can find you at the website is Tate's.
Yeah, so the Twitter is Tate Speech.
Yes.
Like hate, it's a play on hate speech, Tate Speech, because I got arrested for hate speech once. There's the YouTube, which is youtube.com/Tate Speech again, and the website is cobratate.com.
Awesome stuff. Very good. Right. Well, enjoy the rest of your time in London.
Thank you.
And we will speak again soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
In the description below, you'll see a link to cobratate.com. This website has a full range of digital courses that can improve your life significantly. Not only do we have information on how to obtain and retain women, how to improve your physical fitness, how to improve your body language, we also have information on how to make more money and live a more fulfilled life. On top of this, we also have the War Room, which is a subscription service that allows you to have access to other like-minded individuals around the world. With over 100 people already in the War Room, you have access to a pool of talents which can ensure that you make as much money as possible, as quickly as possible. If you have any further questions on any of the courses, there's an individual video next to each one on the sales page. It's time to improve your life.